Hey guys, welcome back. As you see, we got a little bit more modern machine here. This is a Kitchenaid KSM5. This is a 325 watt Kitchenaid. It's a heavy duty model. This one fell off a counter and stopped working, so we got to see what's wrong with that. And at the same time, we're going to disassemble it, and this is going to end up becoming a pink Kitchenaid. So that'll be kind of cool. I've got it plugged in. Let's turn it on and see if it works. And no, it definitely does not work. So since we got to disassemble it anyways, as we're disassembling it, we're going to look and see if we can see what is making it not work. So let me start by pulling out these brushes here. Which I'm sure that isn't the issue, but worth looking into. They gotta come out anyways. Okay, the brushes still look good. And brush cap was super tight. Looks like somebody's been into these brush caps before. They seem to be a bit gouged up. And of course that brush looks good too. Alright, so let's, there's a heavy machine here. Let's take a look under here now. And I'm trying to make sure you guys are staying frame here. I've got my camera pulled way back. This is just a big machine. Alright, let's pop this off. Set the screw aside. Put this down here. Alright, looks pretty clean in here. The lever is still connected. It moves the it moves the whole board on here. As you see, this is an electronic, just a full electronic machine here. Let's go ahead and get our wiring disconnected, which is all just connectors. That should just pop right off, but that one seems to be giving me trouble. And the nice thing about this is you can just pop all these off, and they're marked which wire goes where for color. Alright, so some of these are going to be a little tight. I just need a little more leverage. There we go. Take a seat here, see where my spring is at. Alright, there's the spring right there. And normally I'll just hook the spring to something so I can grab it again, but I'm just going to let the spring go back up inside here. Oh, never mind, it did hook to something, because it's all coming apart anyways. I want to go ahead and back these screws all the way out. This is one of the few machines that everything is Phillips on it that I've worked on in here. Alright, that is basically just the only thing that's on here is the contacts in here. There's really nothing else to this. Matter of fact, I don't even know that this actually has contacts. Honestly, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, there's one right here, but I believe that's for on-off maybe. Sometimes these have a separate on-off switch. I can't imagine this is for anything other than on-off. Alright, we gotta get this ground screw off. And another thing you notice about this has a 3-prong grounded plug on here. Right from the factory. Because when you buy these cord's new from the factory. They come with the connectors and everything on it, including the connector for the ground plug there. Alright, let's get a little dust gasket off of here. Alright, this right here is the solid state control for the motor. This is basically what controls your speed. Or this is exactly what controls your speed. I mean, it's got this, you know, still got the fly-weighted, you know, the whatever it's called here. It's still got the thing with the fly weights here that pushes on that, but this right here is actually what controls your speed now. I mean, you'll notice there's no big resistor in here, no capacitor. But it disassembles back from back here anyway, is almost the same. I mean, this just goes on over a pin. And the pin, of course, just fell down in there, so I'm going to have to look for that when we get it apart, unless I can pull it out with a magnetic screwdriver. Yep. Alright, so there's a pin that goes with this. The pin goes in the shaft. Alrighty. Now we can, and you can see the cord is easy to change on these. If you ever have to change the cord, you basically take off a black or white connector, take the screw out of the ground, and you can pop this right out of there. And then the cord can be, of course, replaced at that point. When you get a new cord from Kitchenaid, it's just a plug and play on that there. It's, you know, basically the same thing. Alright, so I'm going to take this band off of here now. And there it is. We'll just have to clean this up. You can see all the oil and grease that's built up in here. And this one we're going to be ordering Kitchenaid grease for. The owner wants the food safe grease and put in here, so we're going to be ordering some for that. We're not going to be using the grease that we normally use on it. Alright, now I think we're going to take this off of the stand to work on the rest of it here. And obviously we would need a much larger screwdriver for that, so let me find a bigger screwdriver. Alright, so I got a screwdriver bit into a socket here. And let's see, this screw right here is packed full of crap. Old flour and stuff in there probably. Yeah, it's coming out in chunks. Because, you know, when you mix stuff up, I mean, that flour flies everywhere. It's so fine. You don't find anywhere to settle into. Alrighty. Start pulling these out. You can see these are some pretty substantial screws that hold this motor to the base. Screw jump. This off the base and just move the base out of the way for now. We got a lot of stuff to take apart on the base yet too. But for now, we're going to focus on this motor here and get this apart. Okay, so I'm going to pop our ring off here, and this ring is basically on here just to catch all the oil and stuff that drips out of it, and you can see there's a bunch of goo built up in there. So that's the purpose of this, is this grease, gets hot, starts to run or breaks down or whatever. Instead of running out of here and down all over your food, it's supposed to be caught in that ring. Of course, you can see, this stuff's got grease and oil everywhere on it. I mean, even back here, it's running out. So, I mean, it's just a mess right now. But, we're going to take care of that. With new grease should hold up in here for a little while. Alright, I want to go through and I want to pull this planetary off of here. So for that, we got to drive this pin out. Alright, with our pin out of there, we can now get our planetary off. It may take a little bit of finagling to get it to go. Once you get past a certain point, though, it should go fairly easy. This is on this shaft right here. I believe that's got an O-ring in it that's holding it into place. But it's also, got gunk on it and everything. I mean, it just kind of gets locked in there. It takes a little bit to get it off. This one seems to really be stuck on there. I know you don't want to pry too hard on this because this is just a soft alloy here. If it was steel, I mean, you could really reef on it, but I mean, if you really reef on it, now you're just going to end up breaking it or snapping a piece off. So you want to be gentle with it, but give it enough pressure to come off. I mean, once it gets past that O-ring, it should come right off, and it's starting to move now. And another thing is, don't pry right on the very edge of it. Make sure you're back under a thicker part here. Alright, it's starting to move. There we go. Alright, it's almost off. Man, this one's really on there. There. Whew. Alright. You can see there's some oily residue from grease down in there, but I mean, if you look in here, it looks like the only grease that was on here was just a little smear right there. I mean, so this whole planetary had no grease on it whatsoever, which is, to me that seems strange. I mean, you've got metal gear against, metal teeth against metal teeth. You would want some lubrication on there. I mean, if anything, You know, this thing had to be noisy when it ran. But I don't know, that just to me seems weird. Well, I guess it is what it is. Alright, we're going to get this planetary apart now. And for that, this one has a snap ring on it. And I gotta hope my snap ring pliers are small enough to fit in these holes. Seems like the snap rings on these KitchenAids that I run into never seem to fit my pliers. And I'm not going to get them in there. Alright, plan B. Let's just try to pop it off here. Oh, almost had it. There we go. There we go. Snap ring is off. Now we can take our gear off and then take the pin out of here. And we pull our shaft out that the beater hooks to, and then take our washer off of there too. Alright, so I'm going to keep all these parts together since they all belong together. Now we can get this degreased and cleaned up. And now we can get our machine apart. I'm surprised it's got some slotted screws on it too. I wasn't expecting to see that, but this does have, there's 5 screws in the front that hold this together. And these are like really lightweight screws. Like, I don't know if they're aluminum screws or what, but they're very lightweight. And once this goes in the oven the first time, this all expands, so I can actually take this gear out of here. It'll just pop right out. Because it's just press fit in there. And that's helpful a lot of times for, you know, cleaning up, because of the overhang here. You know, you can get a lot of debris and stuff caught back in there, you know, old grease chunks and stuff. Of course, that don't seem to be an issue with this one, being that there's really no grease in here, strangely enough. But anyways, we got 4 screws that, you know, 4 main screws that hold everything together here. And these are slotted as well, so yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's a combination of both. Alright, so we'll get these out. And we can separate our 2 halves now. Well, before I do, I should take these washers off here. There should be a washer or 2 here. Okay, looks like just 1 washer on there. Get the grease off of it. I'm going to set this aside because I want to make sure it stays with this shaft here. Alright, so let's go ahead and separate these halves here. And there's a gasket in here, so we got to be careful of this gasket too. We don't want to tear up our gasket. I mean, we can always order another one, but if this one's good, we'll just reuse it. If it tears, like I said, it's really not a big deal, but alright. Yep, the gasket is intact. Alright, so here's the gearbox here. This is the messy part. You can see how much grease is actually in this part right here. Like I said, the way they put these together, it looks to me like they have these 2 halves. You have your gears on here. It's like they fill this full of grease, and it put the two halves together. But you know, it is what it is. You know, I'm sure they know what they're doing. It just seems to me you'd want to really make sure you got grease on all your surfaces down here. But there's a lot of grease here that's going to have to come off. You know, and there's a lot of parts here that we can check. For wear. I mean, there's a this right here is your gear that, you know, they call it the sacrificial gear. You know, make sure that looks good. You know, a lot of people just replace those on maintenance, but you know, it's not like the gears wear out really. They're designed to just shear the teeth off if a machine binds up, and it's either, you know, to me it's like you know, it's either good or it's bad. Either the teeth are sheared off, or you know, the teeth are good. In this case, you know, it seems like the teeth are all good on it, so I would say no reason to replace it. But you know, that's just me. I need a Phillips screwdriver again from here, and this is typical through a lot of these Kitchenaid lines that, you know, they've got the same setup for this sacrificial gear in here. I'm going to just take this whole greasy assembly here. I'm just going to put it in here, and we're just going to degrease it and get it apart later. This is like some of the worst grease ever, I think, this KitchenAid grease. And we'll get our main gear out of here. Now we probably got to take our O-ring off first. Almost forgot about the O-ring. And this O-ring is also, you know, it's there another form of way to stop the grease when the grease, you know, turns liquidy from running out and down and into your bowl of food. I mean, looks like they took a lot of precautions to keep the grease in, but it still seems to be running out all over, and I don't know if it's been wicking through the gasket, you know, to get out to the sides here or what. It seems strange that it leaks so much. Alright, let's get our main gear out of here. There we go. This obviously got to be cleaned up and degreased. And we've got a pile of grease on here. This one looks a little better now. It looks like they got some grease down here underneath the gear. I remember last one I took apart, it was kind of dry under here. Alright, that's good enough for now. Throw it in the degreaser and clean the rest of it up. And this part now is stripped off, you know, of all the parts that are coming off of it. God, I go through so many shop towels when I'm doing these KitchenAids here. Alright, let's get our gasket off here. Alright, I think what I'm going to do, being that this thing is covered on both sides in grease and oil, is I'm going to order up a new gasket for it, just because it seems like this has been just wicking, you know, the grease and oil right through. I mean, it's not stopping it, it's kind of wicking it through. I mean, this whole surface here is covered in oil, and that's what I've seen on the outside of it too. So I'm not even going to reuse this gasket. I'm just going to order a new one for it. And now, the fun part, start scooping out a ton of grease. Make sure you guys can see here, yeah. Kind of the nastiest part of the job here, but this stuff gotta go. Yeah, look at that grease right there, it's kind of like rubbery. yeah, we're going to order up the grease for it along with the gasket so far. Haven't found the parts yet. You know, a part that would be bad to make it not run. Now we get to go through and test some parts on here, but if you know, if all our internal parts test good, then it's going to be that speed control unit on there. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and finish getting the grease out of here and not bore you guys with watching the grease come out. Alright, so I got a lot of the grease cleaned out of there. So now we go through, we can disassemble some of these other pieces on here, including getting our spring off. And we'll take our switch apart here. I did go through and I put the speed control assembly back together on the back and hooked everything up, and I plugged in and I checked it, and I seem to be getting voltage everywhere back there, you know, where they're supposed to be. So I'm still not quite sure what the deal is with this thing not turning on yet. I think we're gonna, you know, probably find out a little bit more once we get this apart more. But it's time to go ahead and start pulling the rest of these parts off here, and that way we can get a good idea of what's going on inside here. Okay, this has got our rear bushing in it, and it's also got the electronics on it for the speed. And we'll see if we can get our little lever out of here. There we go. Alright, let's pull this armature out. It's going to want to come out with the bearing, but sometimes it needs a little assistance. I'll take the PTO gear out. And let's see if we can find something long enough to give us some assistance here. Alright, there we go. It's all greasy now. Alright, let's take a look at the armature on here. That looks really good. There's our bearing with gobs of grease on it. Alright, let's take a look inside here. I don't see anything really out of whack in here. I'm checking these wires on these, you know, on the clips for the brush holders. They seem to be intact. That was one of the other things I thought might be an issue with this, but it doesn't seem to be the case either. Let me get them disconnected here. Alright, there we go. Take our spacers off of here. It's got like little paper or cloth, rubber coated cloth spacers on it. That's pretty interesting. Take our threaded rods out of here. Alright, this field coil should just come right out. Should come out easier than that. There we go. Alright. Well, we're going to check the armature and check this field coil. I mean, everything looks good by looking at it. But there's a reason why it's not turned on. And like I said, I think it may have something to do with the electronic on there. But like I said, when we tested that, when we tested all the connections in there, there was, you know, power where there should be. So that's a part we have yet to check. Alright, so this is pretty much ready for degreasing. Alright, so we've got a bunch of these all ready to go into the degreaser, and then we'll get them stripped down and powder coated. I'll set all these aside and get them out of the way so we have some room here. We got some serious degreasing to do. And I'm going to have to, you see we got every tool known to man out right now. I'm kind of running out of room here. Alright, so now we got the base. A heavy base. This thing is pretty beefy. This thing seems to slide okay, a little clunky, but that seems to work alright. Let's go ahead and take this apart. See if we can pull our roll pin out of here. Nope. Alright, so we're going to have to just drive it through. As soon as I find my punch. Alright, so now I'm at the point where there's so many parts up here, I'm losing everything. Alright, so let's go ahead and drive this through. Okay, another thing I noticed too is this white plastic piece. As soon as I get this out of here, I'll show you that. Looks like it's got a crack in it, so that's another part that we can replace on here. Alright, got our pin out and I heard it drop through. So there's the roll pin. So now we can pull our handle out of here, and you can see why it was sticking up. I mean, it's definitely got some corrosion on it here, and looks like something's wearing on it, so we'll have to polish everything up on there. Once these are polished up, they move like nice and smooth. But in the meantime, though, they can get bound up pretty good. Alright, so now I've got to remove this from here, from this arm. Let's see if I can get down in here cotter pin in here that's got to go. And I may just take it all out in one piece. That seems like that might be the easiest thing to do. And then I can pull the cotter pin out of there. Oops. You see what's going on here? There we go. Alright, so I got the 4 big screws out of there. Now let's go ahead and see if we can get this apart. Should have disconnected this. Yep. Alright. There, now we can get these separated here. This is pretty much stripped down, ready for powder coat. Just a screw in here we gotta pull out. And this here, it's just got a little tab on it. Alright, and this is ready to be powder coated here. These I believe are pressed in, and I have to see once this is heated up if those will knock right out for me. If not, then I'll just have to tape those up when we powder coat this. Alright, so here is the assembly that raises everything and lowers everything. You can see there's quite a bit of corrosion on that as well. And here's the plastic piece. I don't know if you can see on here. Right there, it looks like it's got a crack. So these are available too, so we're going to go ahead and order up another one of these for it. Alright, so looks like the feet are the only thing left on here. There we go. The screw ain't the only thing holding these feet on. There we go. Alright, so we got our base stripped down to the very bottom. So that's ready for stripping. Alright, so there you have it. There's all the parts that are left over on here. We're going to go through and we're going to check all these and see which one is bad and not making it turn on. And you know, it's surprising that you don't see something, being that it fell off the counter, that you don't just see something that would have made it go bad. But I mean, it's possible. It's, you know, something on here as well. We'll go through and check it, you know, check as best as we can, and then we're going to make a parts list and get some parts ordered up for this. I see some thermal paste still on there. Yeah, we'll find out what's going on with this thing and order up what we need to. But anyways, as soon as we get everything ready to go, we'll come back and get her done, check her out, and see what it looks like. Alright, so we got the powder coating all done on this Kitchenaid here, and we've got all the parts all cleaned up. And before assembly, I had to go through and open up all the new parts that we got for it here. This would be rubber feet for I think this is for a different one. I think there's more stuff down in here. Oh, okay, so this package was irrelevant. Here we've got a pack of grease. This is the owner specified, you know, the food grade grease for Kitchenaid, so that's what we got here. We've got a container of the grease. Got a new Kitchenaid cord. Unfortunately, I had to get black because white was out of stock. But we got a black cord, which I think is going to look really good with the pink. And we have a part for the bowl lift. Remember, the other one was cracked. Had a chunk missing off of it here somewhere, so we got a new one of those. And this, I believe, is our gearbox gasket. Yeah, there's a new gasket to replace this one, which is kind of dry and brittle. So we'll replace it with a new one here. Alright, so at this point, I want to go get the other parts, to start getting some of this stuff put together here. I have another pack here somewhere as well. I just can't seem to locate it right now. Well, I do have new feet for this model because the feet that came in look like that came on it look like that. They're pretty grungy. So I do have to find the other package. I've had so much stuff coming in delivery lately. I try to keep everything together, but sometimes it just gets hard. Things get, you know, tossed around and in different boxes. So I'll take a look around and see what I can find here for that.
Shut up and sit down. and sit down.
Alright, hope you guys can see this alright. This is a pretty big machine and it's hard to get the whole thing in a picture. But this one is a wrap now. We've got this one all together. I want to talk to the owner about the cord, see if they're okay with the black cord on there. I can try and order a white cord from somewhere else. It's just where I ordered the rest of the parts from. They were out of stock on the white cord, so that's the only thing iffy about this. The feet, I did find out, are for this model and for another model, depending on which one you use. They had the screw hole in it, and then they had the little nubs on the bottom, so if it's a snap-in kind, you snap it in. If it's a screw-on kind, you cut the nubs off, and you can run your screw in there, screw them out. So we got the feet on there, the new feet and everything. The lift lever, obviously, is nice and smooth, locks into place nice. If we lock it, it'll lock into place. Locks nice and easy. You can do it with 2 fingers. That color came out great on here. I mean, it looks really good in pink. Let's go ahead and fire this thing up and give this a listen to here. So I mean, you can hear it. It runs good. I didn't go through and diagnose what was wrong with it before. When I did the disassembly. I know this one had been knocked off a counter, and then it wouldn't work anymore after that, they said. So I figured, there's a good chance something may have gotten knocked loose instead of trying to test every part, and run around in circles. When something just got knocked loose or out of whack or whatever, I figured disassemble the whole thing, get it powder coated, and then put it back together and try and see what's what. But in putting it back together, I didn't secure everything in the back. I just got enough hooked together to see if it run, and sure enough, it fired right up and sounded good. So we got the new grease in here, the Kitchenaid food grade grease that the customer requested. That's in there. Like I said, new cord, new feet, new the new plastic piece for the lift arm on there. You can see that one's got a chunk missing out of it and a crack that goes around there. So we replaced that. I mean, it's a cheap plastic piece, but they are available to replace. But anyways, as you can tell, this one came out really good. And this is other than the cord I want to talk to the owner about. Everything else is ready to go. So if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I will get back to those as soon as I can. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and let us know that you liked it, or we have no way of knowing. And don't forget to subscribe and click that bell down there so you'll be notified. Get your notifications whenever we post a new video. And we do have more coming up. We've got a couple other KitchenAids that we're working on right now as well. We're trying to get the KitchenAids done and out of here. Another one, it's an older one. I think it's a 3C, 4C maybe. I don't know. I don't recall at the moment, but maybe even a 3B. Well, that one was done in pink, and then we've got another K45. I don't believe it's a solid state. God, it's been so long since I took this apart, I can barely remember. But I think it's just a regular K45 that was done in a pearl sparkle, which is a really cool looking color. It may look more white on the camera. I'll try and get you guys a good view of it, but it is a pearl finish with some real fine metallic flakes in it, and it's a really cool color that pops, and you guys probably like that. But anyways, I appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks.